I'm always just chasing. Always just chasing him. Do you want to be that way with God? Always just chasing, never quite getting where you're supposed to be, never quite being as successful as God wanted, never quite living the full plan. You're just always chasing, always keeping your head above water, always hoping for that next break, always hoping that it's there. And God's like, it's been there the whole time. All you have to do is your part.
We're blessed. Pastor Jake is going to bring the word this morning, so sick 'em.
All right, perfect. Thank you, sir. Good morning. How are you guys? You know, I remember sitting in a room. It has nothing to do with my sermon, but I'll just tell you a story really quick. I remember sitting in a room, it was a relatively good-sized room with a conference table. And me and my wife were sitting there, and we had our adoption worker sitting across from us. And they were telling us all about Bella. And they were telling us about, they have to like give you all the information. They were telling about the potential consequences of just some of her parents' issues. And they give you time, they're like, we have to be honest with you, tell you everything. And they went out, they're like, we're gonna give you time to like decide if you wanna move forward. We'd been praying and praying over Bella. And we just like, and every night I'd sit and pray for her. And her parents faced some challenges. And I remember telling Julie, man, she's worth fighting for 1,000 times over. And to look at her now, and all the lives she's touched, all the ballerinas that can't wait to see her every single day and come back to the office to play with her, all the youth kids that she runs to and hugs. I remember sitting and praying one night, and God had shown me Jeremiah 1:5 again, where it says, before you were formed, I knew you. Before you were born, I consecrated you a prophet to the nations. And he said, you know, Bella's path, she may not have been born a Gonzales, but her path was to always be one. And her route was a little bit different, but it was to be a Gonzales. And it was just amazing how much he's worked in her life to get her to our household. You know, and every time they come and they do like an evaluation, they're always amazed about how far she's come. And I pray over her all the time, and God is growing her up to be a little amazing woman of God. And we are unbelievably blessed to have her in our lives. So I just wanted to share that. But anyways, we're the youth pastors here. And today I get the opportunity to share with you guys a message that's really deep in my heart. But before we get there, I want to just tell you guys about the youth really quick. It's summertime, so that means we're getting ready to go to summer camp again. We're going north of San Francisco this time. We'll be gone for the last part of July. So, you know, we're not here today doing any fundraising, but I just want to get you guys right now on the ground floor to start praying for our youth that's going. Because everybody knows, man, sometimes you can pray for a long time and you never know when that breakthrough is coming for. I was telling Pastor Self this morning, I pray for my brother every single day that he follows God. And I know it's going to happen, but I just got to be consistent at doing it. And that's how it is with our youth group. We just got to pray every day, that God will touch them. And you never know. Camps are the best time to do it because they unplug from everybody and they're just there to see God. They come in a little bit rough, but they come out polished sometimes. And when you never know which camp or which place is going to grab a kid and hold on to him forever. So if you guys would just start praying for camp, it would be fantastic. We're going to talk today about relationships. We're going to take a moment, we're going to compare a relationship with your spouse to a relationship with God. Because they mirror, how they grow is mirrored with each other. And sometimes we look at our relationship and maybe we understand how it works with our spouse, but we don't quite understand how it works with God. And everything's laid out there. And we all want this relationship with God that's just nothing but fireworks, right? You want to be able to go to any person and like solve their problem. You want to be able to feel like your life is on top of everything and issues just walk underneath your feet. And you can do all the things that are in the New Testament, right? You can go out and heal people and raise people from the dead and walk on water. And we all want this firework relationship, but sometimes we forget how to get there. We forget that first love that we once had. Today we're going to look at this and kind of go back there. It was in the summer of 2001, and I was down visiting my uncle. I was driving through Colorado to go to another job I was working on. It was a Sunday morning. I'd gone to church, and I was sitting in the second row during worship, and it was the first song was playing. My aunt's in front of me, and the first row, the first set of pews on the other side is empty on the first row. And in walks this girl, late to church, comes in and sits down on the first row and starts to worship. I lean forward to my aunt who was worshiping at the time, and I tap on her shoulder. I go, "Hey, Aunt Julie, who's that girl?" She captivated my eye at that moment. She goes, "Oh, that's Julie." I'm like, "Is she single?" "Yeah, she is." My aunt and uncle being the pastor, I go, "Hey, how about we invite her out to your house for lunch afterwards? Maybe I'll talk to her." Church goes by and they invite her out afterwards. And me being, believe it or not, super shy, I don't say a single word during lunch. So afterwards, Julie's out in the barn with my uncle. They're working on some stuff. I figured I'd go and talk with them. I go out to the barn. I don't say anything. I'm like too shy to say anything. But I knew I liked her. So we started off this relationship. I would write her letters. I had to leave the next day to go to Idaho to work. I'd write her letters. She'd never write back. But I was persevering. I kept writing letters. She would never write back again, but we talked on the phone. And we started to get to know each other. I flew out there in November to see her. And I already made a decision. God had told me you need to move out there. So I was going to move out there anyways, whether she liked it or not. So I go out in November to go see her, and we go on a date. We go horseback riding, and it was fun. But you know when you first date someone, there's the excitement of everything that goes on. The first time you see her, first time you go on a date, what are you going to say? Make sure you don't look like a fool. We go out, we go get lunch, we go up and go horseback riding, we come back down. The most stressful part of the day was she drove all day with her gas light on, and it was stressing me out so bad. I'm like, "Can we please just pull over and get gas? I don't want to push the truck." Then we started to see each other. I'd go by after work and I'd call her. I can remember the first time I held her hand. We were sitting in the back of my aunt and uncle's car. And she was sitting on one side, I was sitting on the other side. There was no one in the middle. And I wanted to hold her hand, but it was like sitting on the middle chair. And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is like perfect timing." But I was too nervous to do it. My hands were super sweaty, so I keep wiping them on my jeans. And I finally reach over and I grab her hand. But everything was so exciting. Everything was. And when you had problems, they were like small problems. And it seems like you get over them without any problem. That's our relationship with this God when we first come to him. We get saved, we're like, "Oh man, this is so exciting." You go to work the next day and you tell everybody about God. And you don't care that they don't care. You don't care that they don't want to hear it. You're going to tell them no matter what. And you have all this fire inside of you. And you carve out time in your day to read your Bible. And you carve out time to pray. You shut off your TV and your favorite shows. I can watch it later. I just want to get to know God. And everything's going smooth. Everything's going smooth. And then one day you wake up to reality. Your problems are coming back. Life seems to be creeping in. And everything is coming back what do I do? This is the part that you have to decide. A lot of people, they get to this point and they turn around and they walk away. They make this vicious circle in life, always getting to that point and never getting past it. And they go back around and stop following God for a little bit, and they come back and they get there and they get hit again. We have to learn to get past that. It's like in a relationship, right? The first time you get in a major fight, and you're like, "Oh man, maybe this thing's over." You don't sleep all night. You're like, she's upset at you. Maybe I should go see her in the morning, but you don't want to seem like too nerdy about it. You have to learn to fight for it. right? You have to decide that this is what I'm doing and that this relationship is worth fighting for. It's the same way with God. You say, man, I have these problems. I get that. But my relationship with God is worth fighting for. And it's you have to learn to make that decision. I knew the moment I met Julie, I was going to marry her. There was no question about it. The only question was if I could convince her to marry me. I was already a willing party at the time. I just had to make sure it was mutual. But I had to learn to fight for it. In the first chapter of Joshua, in the verse 8, it says this. It says this. This book of law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so you may be careful to do what's accordingly is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosper. And then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. The key to me and Julie's relationship is a key to your relationship with God. It's getting to know each other. I didn't learn about Julie. I had to learn she's from Quakertown, Pennsylvania. I had to learn that her favorite football team is my arch enemy, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I had to still love her. I had to learn what she liked and disliked, what movies she liked, what books she likes to read, where she grew up, the places she did. I had to learn about the good stuff and the not so good stuff. I had to spend time getting to know my future wife. I had to call her and visit with her. I had to go by and see her. If I wanted my relationship to work with Julie, I had to carve out time and make her a priority in my life. The moment I met her, I didn't love her, but I had to grow that love into that. And that only came with time. It says in Joshua, you need to meditate on my word day and night. Why? Because you're getting to know God. You're getting to understand what is written in the word and why he wrote what he did. You pray to him and you talk with him so he learns to know you and you understand his voice. You want to get past that wall that you fought out for so long? You want to step into what God is having you do? You have to get to know him. You have to spend time with him on a regular basis. It's waking up and it's reading his word. It's shutting off the TV to pray with him. It's not saying I'll do it tomorrow and then tomorrow turns into a week and into 10 days and next thing you know, you can't even figure out where your Bible is. You have to put forth the effort. And when you do put forth the effort, it says in Joshua that he will walk beside you. He will make you successful in what you do. See, our relationship with God is just like a relationship with the spouse. The more time you put into it, the better it becomes. The better it gets. We sometimes don't look at it that way. Sometimes we want God to come out and do everything for us. We want God to go all the way. And we just want to stand there and receive his blessings. But it doesn't work that way. God says, meditate on my word day and night. It's a two-way street. Every passage we're going to look at today is the exact same thing. Just repeat after repeat after repeat. We have to spend time with God. I was telling the kids last week in youth, I was going to talk about what a lot of people consider one of the most boring words, consistency. Being consistent, right? Everybody wants to be the all-star. Everybody wants to be the person out front. But you know how they get there? Being consistent. One step after another. They're the ones practicing when everybody's hanging out with their friends. They're the ones going over tapes and going over plays when everybody else is doing something else. They're the one putting in the time, 100% of it, so that way they're prepared for what is to come ahead. And that's what it takes with the relationship with God. You say, God, I just want to get to where you told me to be. I thought I'd be there by now. I'm old. I should be there. God's like, but you haven't given me your all. You haven't given me what I'm asking for. You have to go in all the way. In the 91st chapter of Psalms, there's a passage I like. It talks about loving God. And I want to read you guys this. It's Psalms 91. It starts with verse 14. But I want you guys to see something here. It says, I'm going to read verses 14 and 16. Listen to what it says. We're going to start on 14. It says, because he holds fast to me in love. Because you hold fast to God in love. That daily preparation builds your love for God so that way you actually have something to hold on to. It's hard to lose a loved one, right? It's difficult to get over. You fight for it 100% because that's what you want. God says, make me your loved one. Make me the person you choose to chase after. Make me your spouse. I fought for my relationship with Julie all the way. I knew I wanted to marry her. I knew I wanted her to be the mother of my kids. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. But I had to fight for it every step of the way. It also says, if you keep reading, it says, I will protect him because he knows my name. When I talk to him, he knows who's talking to him. He knows what God sounds like in his heart. He knows what the words say because he spent his time. I love music. I absolutely love music. I listen to music all the time. You can ask my wife. All during the day, I listen to music. I never have music off hardly ever. I just want to be a musician so bad. I can't play anything. I can't sing on key. I can't clap on beat. That's why if I'm back there, I'm not clapping. It's not that I'm not interested. I can't figure out how to do it on beat. I'm 37. I can't clap on beat. That's why I don't clap. All I want to be is a musician. But I have no ability. Because I've never put in the time to be successful. I want to be the guy that can sit at the piano and bust out a song. I think the piano is like the most beautiful instrument. I just want to sit down. We were at a job site walking today and they had this beautiful, gorgeous grand piano. I just want to sit down and play something. But I don't know what to play and I couldn't tell you which keys are which. Because I've never put in the time. I've never chosen to spend time playing the piano. I just want to get there. And that's how we are sometimes with God. We just want to get to the end result without doing the work. It says this. Let's read the rest of this passage. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. You have to choose to go in 100%. 100% you have to give God. You can't do it halfway. You try doing something halfway, you get half the results. I work out halfway. So I look halfway fit. If I was to work out all the way, I'd probably look all the way fit. But I don't. I get the results that I put in. Your relationship with God is the exact same way. You get the results you choose to put in. There came a point in me and Julie's relationship, we were at a crossroad and I had to decide what I was going to do. Either we were going to extend this relationship and I was going to ask her to marry me, or we had to figure out something. So this Sunday morning came along, and I always picked up for church. And I went to her house a little bit early to pick her up, and she wasn't quite ready. So I was sitting on the couch, and I told her, hey, come talk with me for a second. And so I go there, and she sits down, and I'm like way super nervous, like beyond nervous. And like I'm probably sweated through my shirt. I mean, it was ridiculous. And all I have to do is ask her to marry me. She's already told me a ton of times she wants to get married. And that we're going to have kids and where we're going to live. And we've gone through all the motions. But I've never officially asked her. I sit there. I can't do it. I completely chicken out. The ring's still in my pocket. I go, we'll talk about it later. Let's go to church. So again, we go to church. The problem is I already told the rest of my family, being overly confident. So when we get to church, they're all standing at the double glass doors waiting for us to walk through to say, yeah, woo, you know. I park as far out in the parking lot as possible. I get out. Normally I would go open the door for Julie. I shut my door and walk at a super quick pace to the church. I just leave her in the dust. Like, I mean, she's probably thinking I'm mad or something. I'm like, I shut the door, I just keep walking. I got to get there before she does to tell them I didn't ask them to marry me. I'm like, I didn't do it. Don't say anything. We go to church that day. We go and have dinner afterwards. And we're sitting there at the steakhouse. I'm vegetarian at the time, so I'm eating a potato. Julie's eating a steak. And I can't even eat a potato, I'm so nervous. I mean, I can't cut it, I can't do anything. I'm just basically, I'm literally about ready to throw up, I'm so nervous. We get all the way through dinner, and for whatever reason, I feel like I'm in like a super low chair, so Julie's like really high, I'm like way down here, I can barely see above the table. But once again, I've set myself up. We're supposed to go meet my family for ice cream after dinner to celebrate our engagement. Dinner finishes, we hop in the truck to leave. I start the truck up, I put it in drive, I put it back in park, and I shut it off. I'm like, I have got to talk to you. So I'm sitting in one seat of my truck, Julie's sitting in the passenger seat, and our dog is right between us, Lou. And Lou used to stand on the back seat with her back paws, and she put her front paws on the front console. I'm trying to have this really romantic moment with my wife. I have to keep dodging my dog like this. But her head keeps, whichever way I go down, Lou's head goes down. So I have to go up, Lou's head goes up. So I'm going like this, I'm like, hey, do you think you would marry me? I had to ask the question to get the answer. I wasn't going to get it otherwise. I had to decide that this is what I was doing for the rest of my life. That this was the most important thing that I was going to fight for. But I had to make that decision somewhere in my life. Maybe you're right there with God. Maybe it's right there, but you haven't quite made that decision to break through. Today's your day. You say, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to serve you. Not just a little bit. Not just when I feel good. Not just when I'm feeling really bad and I need your help. But I'm going to serve you all the time, 100%. Because that's what God requires from you. See, we have these goals and these ambitions, right? We have something that God's called us to do. There is not a person in this room that doesn't have a calling from God. There's not a person that God hasn't laid out a plan for. But you will never get to it until you decide to go 100% in. You will never get there and you will never accomplish it. You'll always just be chasing a little bit behind. I have an older brother that's an extremely good cyclist. And it kills me. So no matter how much I ride, he's always better than me. We'll ride. I can ride as fast as I can ride. And I can pass him. But then he kicks it in high gear and blows me out of the water. I'm always just chasing. Always just chasing him. Do you want to be that way with God? Always just chasing? Never quite getting where you're supposed to be? Never quite being as successful as God wanted? Never quite living the full plan? You're just always chasing, always keeping your head above water, always hoping for that next break, always hoping that it's there. And God's like, it's been there the whole time. All you have to do is your part. All you have to do is meditate on what I've told you to meditate on. Spend time in your word. Spend time praying because I've laid this out for you. We work on human relationships all the time. People go and spend thousands of dollars on counselors to get their relationship with their wife working or their relationship with their kids working. When it comes to God, we give it no time sometimes. We just walk away. But God's like, just give me a little bit more. I want every bit of it. In Jeremiah, there's two passages I want to share with you guys today. First passage is in the very first chapter of Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a prophet with one purpose: to spread the gospel to the people of Israel that have turned away from him. A nation he is to spread to. He is the prophet. And God tells him this is his job. And throughout the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah talks with God. And they have conversations. And every time Jeremiah brings forth a concern, you see, they're building this relationship. Every time Jeremiah brings forth a concern, God answers it and says, well, this is what we're doing. They're slowly building. In the very first chapter of Jeremiah, in the 17th verse, it says this: but dress yourself for work. Arise and say to them everything I commanded you. It says, but dress yourself for work. The passage I want to read is next. I went back and I was reading this. I went through and I did some stuff on it. And basically what God is telling Jeremiah: prepare yourself to do what I've called you to do. You wouldn't go into battle without weapons, right? You wouldn't go to work without your needed tools. My guys don't show up without their tool bags and their drill sets. They come prepared every day to do electrical work because that's what they do. If they showed up with carpentry tools, they would get nothing accomplished. If they showed up with nothing, they'd really get nothing accomplished. They have to come prepared to go to work. They have to come ready to go to work. And God is telling Jeremiah in this passage, prepare yourself for what I've called you to do. For when you prepare yourself for what I called you to do, you will become successful at it. It says this afterwards. And behold, this is my favorite part. And behold, I make you this day a fortified city, an iron pillar, a bronze wall, against the whole land, against the kings of Judea, its officials, its priests, its peoples of the land. They will fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you, declares the Lord. You've spent time preparing. You've worked on it day in and day out. And now when it comes to conquer something, you're ready. I remember Annie, our oldest one. I remember when she was like this tall. And she came to see her sister after Willow got born in this blue Cinderella dress that she wanted to look pretty for her sister. She had this brown curly hair, it's about shoulder length. She had this high squeaky voice. And she came in and she was kind of shy of Willow. But I remember when she was here. I remember laying Willow on my chest during the races. On Sunday afternoon, we'd sit down to watch NASCAR and I'd put her on my chest. And we'd both fall asleep. I would just hold her there. I look at them now, Annie's like stinking this tall. And Willow's not far behind. I can't measure them growing every day. If I stuck them against the wall and like measured it, sometimes you wouldn't even notice. But they keep growing. They keep getting bigger. They're going to school and they're learning stuff. And they're getting prepared for the world, right? And so every day they're growing. And 10 years later, she's up to here. And she's telling everybody that she's her sister to her mom because they look so much alike. You know, and she's telling everybody that, you know, I'm driving in like 5 years. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. She's getting so big. But every day, she just grows a little bit. And the challenges that she couldn't do at 2. She couldn't ride a bike at 2. But she's grown and got better. And now she can. It's the same way with our lives. We start off here with God. And we see the things ahead. We see what we want to do and we see what God's called us for, but we just have to continually grow. And sometimes you won't even think you're doing it. Sometimes it's like, God, I read and I pray every day. God, I spend time with you, but I just don't seem to get ahead. I don't seem to make a difference. I just feel like I'm struggling and I'm struggling, I'm struggling. And next thing you know, you'll be the fortified city. And the things that used to knock you flat, the things that used to destroy who you were, you just step over like a speed bump in the road. Because you slowly worked on it. See, our God is not a God just about bad things. He's not here just to pull us out of the pits, but he's here to help us go through the doors that we've been praying about. The things that we want, the accomplishes that we're looking for. He's here to help us get through them. But we just got to keep coming each and every day. We've been married for 13 years now. This last year, we had a lot of changes in our lives. And one of them is our business has grown. Julie's now working full-time in the business. She sits right across from me at my desk. We have 2 desks. They face each other. If I stretch my arm out as far as I can, and Julie stretches her arm out as far as she can, we can touch fingers. I spend most days, about 23 to 24 hours a day with my wife. My first year of marriage, that would have destroyed us. That would have caused, we go through personal battles sitting at the desk. We go through struggles with our family. We go through struggles with the company. We go through things with the youth group sitting at the desk because we've slowly worked on it day after day, day after day, day after day. And 13 years ago, something like that would have destroyed us. Today, it's my greatest way to spend my day. I hate when she's not at the office. It drives me insane. I'm becoming more and more like Pastor Steve in the sense that Julie went away for 2 days and I had no clue what to do with myself. I couldn't function. If it wasn't for Robert and Katrina and my mom bringing me pizza, I literally, well, not literally, but I would have starved to death. I mean, it would take a lot more than 2 days for me to starve to death. But I would have been really hungry when she got back. Because we spend time working on it over and over. And God says, I want that with you. I don't know about you guys. My goal when I stand before my Heavenly Father, on my very last breath, I want to look at him and say, man, I fought the good fight. And I finished the race. I kept the faith. Nothing held me back. Nothing stopped me from doing what you called me to do. Nothing did. It's a lifelong journey. It's an absolutely lifelong journey. I was talking with Pastor Self after first service, and he was saying, man, I'm still trying to get there. He's 90, close to 90? He's close to 90, and he's still trying to get there. My favorite passage in the whole entire Bible is in the 13th verse of the 29th chapter of Jeremiah, when it says, you will seek me, and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I will be found by you, declares the Lord. I will be found by you, declares the Lord. I will not run. I will not hide. I'll be right there waiting for you. Maybe today, you're like, man, Jake, I don't even know God. Maybe today you're like, I just want to get to know him more. I've been in that circle where I get to that wall and I get knocked off and I come back around. And I get to that wall and I get knocked off and I come back around. But I just want to get him more. Or maybe you're the person who's like, God, I just want more of you. I'm doing good, but I just want more. If you take a moment, I want everybody to bow their heads for a minute. I want everybody to close their eyes. I want everybody to reflect on where their life is. And maybe you fit in one of those 3 categories. Maybe you're the person that says, God, I really don't follow you, but I want more of you. Maybe you're the person that just needs that push to get over that canyon or get through that door. Or maybe you just want more of him. If you fall in one of those categories, I want you to raise your hands. I want you to think about it. I'm going to pray here in a second. I want you to pray to yourself. I'm not going to have you come forward. I'm not going to tell you to come up here. But I want you to look deep down in your heart. And I want you to say, okay, God, today, I gave you 40% yesterday. I gave you 30% the day before. But today I'm giving you 100%. Tomorrow I'm going to give you 100%. And if I die trying, I will give you 100% every moment. It doesn't end. You don't retire from it. It doesn't end when you get 65. It doesn't end when your kids are raised and gone. It doesn't end when you decide you're tired. It goes for the rest of your life. We are not here to make a difference to one person. We are here to make a difference to the world. And we cannot do it unless we give 100% of it to God. We are difference makers. That's why we were created, is to make a difference.